Hello everyone and welcome back once again. This is your civics teacher here, and this time I am here with a brand new chapter of NCERT grade 7, that is how the state government works. Students, as you all know that the government in India works at 3 different levels, and that are local, state and national level. And students, the state government works as a link and channel between the people and the central government. Students, this chapter will help you to develop the sense of the nature of decision making within a state government. And by discussing this chapter, you will understand the extent of power and authority exercised by the state government over people's lives. And students, at the end of this chapter, you will get a critical sense of the politics underlying the provision of services or the distribution of resources. So, let's start. So, students, before going through the chapter, the first thing that you must need to know is that who is an MLA, or whom do we call an MLA? Students, as you all know that India is a vast country and a single person cannot control such a vast country alone. That's why our whole nation is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories. And students, further, likewise, each state is also divided into different districts and constituencies. Now students, can you answer me why our whole nation is divided into different states and union territories, or the states is divided into different constituencies and districts? Students, India has been divided into different states and union territories in order to maintain effective administration, maintain law and order, provide citizens their necessities, and for overall development. And students, likewise, in the same way, state also divided into different constituencies on the basis of same reasons. Students, as I said, that every Indian state is divided into different constituencies, and the number of constituencies in a state changes according to the sizes and population of the state. Now student, people from each constituency elect their representative through voting, and those elected representatives are called members of Legislative Assembly or MLA. Then students, the elected MLAs form their government in the state. And students, these MLAs may belong to different political parties. And as I said that from each constituency, the people elect one representative through voting, who then becomes a member of the Legislative Assembly, like Mr. Gopal, the present MLA of Gangotri constituency, means to say Gangotri Vidhan Sabha, and Mr. Kedar Singh Rawat, the present MLA of Yamunotri constituency, means Yamunotri Vidhan Sabha. And students, as I said, that MLAs come from different political parties, and there is only one legislative assembly in every state. And students, the political party whose MLAs have more than half the number of constituencies in a state is known as the majority or ruling party. Like in present time, from most of the constituencies, MLAs are from BJP party. So there is a BJP government in our state. Students, whereas all the other parties together are called the opposition party. Now students, here is a question that How do people who are MLAs become ministers or chief ministers? Students, as I said earlier, that a political party whose MLAs have won more than half the number of constituencies in a state is said to be in a majority. And the political party that has majority in a state is called the ruling party, and rest the other members are called the opposition. And students, after the elections, the MLAs belonging to the ruling party will elect their leader, who then becomes the chief minister of a state. Then the chief minister and the other ministers have the responsibility of running various government departments or ministries in a state. Now students, the next topic is a debate in the legislative assembly. Students, a legislative assembly in a state is the place where all the elected MLAs from the various constituencies, whether from the ruling party or from the opposition, meet to discuss various matters of the state. Students, hence, some MLAs have dual responsibilities. One as an MLA of a constituency and other as a minister of a state. And students, it is the place where all decisions are taken jointly by the chief minister and other ministers, but they need approvals of MLAs. Students, the chief minister and other ministers are together called the executive part of the state government, while all the MLAs together are called the legislative part of the state government. Students, here in the legislative assembly, MLAs can express their opinions and ask questions related to the different issues or give suggestions about what should be done by the government in order to run the state in a efficiency. Then students, the ministers of the different departments then replies to the questions and tries to assure the assembly that adequate steps are being taken in different field. And students, as I said earlier, the chief minister and the other ministers have to take decisions in the favor of the state and run the government. And students, however, whatever decisions are being taken, it is necessary to be approved by the members of the legislative assembly. Students, the word government in this chapter refers to government departments and various ministers who head these departments. And students, the overall head of all the departments is the chief minister of this state. And as I said earlier, that all the MLAs who gather in the legislative assembly are called the legislature. And these MLAs are the ones who authorize and supervise their work. Whereas the chief minister and the MLAs who perform dual action, means as an MLA of a constituency and as a minister, together called the executive part of the state government. And students, do you know who is the overall head of all the government departments in Uttarakhand? Students, yes, you all are right. The present overall head of all the government departments in Uttarakhand is the present Chief Minister, Mr. Trivendra Singh Rawat. Now students, let's understand that how the government work. Students, as you all know that India is a democratic country, and in a democratic country, the people elect their representatives as member of the legislative assemblies. So we can say that the people in a democratic country have the main authority to form a government. And students, the political party whose MLAs have more than half the number of constituencies in a state is known as majority or ruling party. And students, then the ruling party members form the government, and some members are also appointed as ministers of the state. And students, the people in power like the chief minister and the minister take action. And students, they take actions through new laws which are implemented by various departments such as Public Work Department, means to say PWD, the Agriculture Departments, the Health Department, the Education Department, and like in the same way other departments as well. And students, sometimes the state government also establish different types of committees to solve particular issues of the state. And students, all the departments in the state government are answerable to legislative assembly for their actions. And students, now can you answer me that how we come to know about that what is happening in the government? Students, we come to know about what the state government does through different means of mass media. And students, the newspapers and the media widely discuss the issues, and the government has to respond them in order to convince the people of the state. For example, by holding press conferences. And students, once the people convinced by the government, then the government decide to make new laws for the welfare of the state. And students, that's how a state government work in a state. Now students, that's all about your chapter number 3, and with this topic here, your chapter number 3 is completed. Now I will be come back soon with another chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy.